gentlemen, boys and girls, baseball fans, and history buffs, welcome to this special presentation of the Big Game James Show, presented by ThinkSlinger.org.
Yes! Back-to-back jacks!
And now, presenting your most handsome host, Big Game James.
So John Lester making his Cubs debut today, and he is the Cubs opening day starter. He's the ace of this staff.
For St. Louis will be Adam Wainwright. And a swing and a miss on that signature breaking ball of Adam Wainwright.
Rizzo cracks this one. Yikes. He crushed it.
And Hayward may have just tied this game up. Long one into deep right field, and this ball is gone. And a blast, a no-doubter.
Soler hits it a ton. And it will go. A two-run homer.
Runner goes. And it's a double play. Strike him out.
And welcome, baseball fans, to The Week in Baseball, a weekly show dedicated to bringing you and catching you up on all the news and scores and highlights that baseball has to offer. Presented by ThinkSlinger.org and The Big Game James Show. As we begin witnessing the first meaningful pitches since Madison Bumgarner sealed the World Series 5 months ago, let's run through the top matchups and storylines, sprinkled with a few predictions, and generally prep you for baseball. That's right, baseball fans. Are you ready for the 2015 season? While it might be entirely too early to be thinking about the Cubs winning the World Series in 2015, I feel at least obligated to begin this first show by reminding everyone that the Cubs did win the 2015 World Series in Back to the Future 2.
Wait a minute. Cubs win World Series against Miami?
Yeah, it's something, huh? Who would have thought? 100 to 1 shot. I wish I could go back to the beginning of the season, put some money on the Cubs.
I just meant Miami. What did you just say?
I said I wish I could go back to the beginning of the season, put some money on the Cubbies.
Now, we all know that a Cubs-Marlins World Series matchup is impossible. They both play in the same league, the National League. But that doesn't mean at least half the prediction can't come true. And for now, I got my money on the Marlins. But don't worry, Cubs fans. With the acquisition of Joe Madden, putting him at the helm, and John Lester, and then Chris Bryant ready to come up from AAA, I think the Cubs are going to be in very good shape for a very long time. It's just not going to be this year. Fans of the New York Yankees should put their usual pessimism aside. That is, at least for the first week. When Masahiro Tanaka completes his first test. Tanaka was dogged all spring by questions about his right elbow, which houses the partially torn ulnar collateral ligament that landed him on the disabled list last season. The Yankees ace had a fine showing in the Grapefruit League, holding opponents to a .228 batting average and notching 13 strikeouts in 14.2 innings. But still, on April 1st, Hall of Fame hurler and MLB Network analyst Pedro Martinez told Adam Skine on SiriusXM's Mad Dog Sports Radio show that he thinks Tanaka is throwing hurt and that he won't make it through the season. He didn't follow up those comments with April Fools. You see, Martinez isn't a surgeon, though he did slice up his fair share of hitters back in the day, but his comments added nothing but fuel to the Tanaka doubting fire this week. With all the fuss over the Japanese import's elbow, it's easy to forget how much he dominated last year when he was healthy. He will have a chance, however, to display that dominance and make the doubters temporarily eat their words like so many ballpark hot dogs when the Yankees host the Toronto Blue Jays in their opening series. My prediction? Tanaka's going to do just fine. He's going to pitch well. His elbow's not going to explode. And the Bronx will heave a collective sigh of relief. At least until his next start. And speaking of the American League East, what's up with those Baltimore Orioles? Of course, the big losses in the offseason were Nick Markakis, Nelson Cruz, and Andrew Miller. The Orioles offense is now tasked with replacing the 40 homers from Cruz and one of the hearts of the team and the longtime fan favorite, Nick Markakis. However, The season preview isn't going to be about them, just as the 2015 season cannot be about their absence. The Orioles are hoping that the combined offensive production from the likes of Delman Young, who will see more time on the field this year, Travis Snyder et al., will help to offset their absence. Of course, the Orioles will also get Matt Wieters back at some point, and Manny Machado has been in midseason form since the beginning of camp. These additions and re-additions will help carry the offense to what fans and the likes of Buck Showalter hope will be the 2014 levels. While this might be done more by on-base percentage than the long ball, it should still help the Birds win games. If Chris Davis can get back to his normal form of hitting 40-plus home runs a year, I'd look to the Baltimore Orioles for seriously contending for the AL pennant once again this year. And perhaps we'll get a small glimpse of that this week as the Baltimore Orioles are set to take on the Tampa Bay Rays in their season-opening series at Tampa Bay. What do you say we hop a flight to Southern California, just in time for perhaps the most anticipated return of the year, coming on opening day? Kemp's Padres, with the debut I'm speaking of, happens in Los Angeles, and though the Padres will face the Dodgers 19 times this season, including a 3-game set to close out the entire season, there's only going to be one first time for Matt Kemp, and it's going to come on Monday at Dodger Stadium. Kemp made a lot of good memories at Chavez Ravine, but his tenure there ended on a sour note. Hampered by injuries, Kemp saw his production bottom out in 2013 when the two-time All-Star posted a career-worst .723 combined on-base and slugging percentage in just 73 games. He enjoyed a bounce-back season in 14, however, staying healthy and clubbing in 25 home runs. Still, with touted prospect Jock Peterson waiting in the wings, the Dodgers shipped Kemp and a barrel of cash down the I-5 freeway for a package highlighted by catcher Yasmani Grandal. It wasn't exactly an acrimonious split. After the trade, Kemp took to Instagram and offered a heartfelt thank you to LA fans and the Dodgers organization, which he praised for taking a chance on an Oklahoma kid. But this game has to carry extra significance. Rather, this whole series has to carry some extra significance for Kemp, who went from franchise cornerstone to jettisoned afterthought in a span of a few seasons, and the best revenge, as they say, is success. And speaking of which, MLB Network's Don Plesac foresees big things for Kemp. As he posted a recent Twitter on April the 2nd, National League MVP of 2015, this guy, and he's speaking of @TheReal Matt Kemp, which you could follow him on Twitter, plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to have a monster year for the Padres, that according to Dan Plesac. The Big Game James prediction, as follows. Kemp's going to receive a warm welcome from the Dodger faithful. He's going to hit a monster home run off of Clayton Kershaw. And for the rest of the season, he's going to lead the charge as the Padres will make the playoffs. And now, ladies and gentlemen, baseball fans of all ages, this show just wouldn't be complete unless I gave you my own predictions for the 2015 Major League Baseball campaign. And they are as follows. I've got Toronto, Cleveland, and Seattle winning their respective divisions, and the wild cards going to the Baltimore Orioles and Los Angeles Angels. In the National League, of course, you got to go with the Nationals. That's what everyone's picking this year. And St. Louis and Los Angeles rounding out their respective divisions. Wild card picks, you guessed it. The Chicago Cubs get in, as well as the San Diego Padres. And in the World Series, I've got the Chicago Cubs losing to the Baltimore Orioles in 4 games.
What did you just say?
I said I wish I could go back to the beginning of the season. Put some money on the Cubbies.
Well, that's going to wrap it up this week, ladies and gentlemen, for the Big Game James Show. Be sure to join us every week for The Week in Baseball, where we bring you all the highlights from the week and prepare you for the next week. This is James F. Thomas IV signing off for the Big Game James Show and ThinkSlinger.org. See ya next week.